some reason, whenever I have the keys to an Aston Martin in my hand, I'm reminded of music. Cars and music, specifically Aston Martins, seem to go together. When I drove the Rapide, I compared it to Pink Floyd. When I drove the Virage Volante, Nirvana popped into my mind. Here, I have the 2012 V8 Vantage Roadster. What's springing to my mind? Well, this is a car that I feel is often overlooked. People will go with the 911, people look at the Audi R8 and the Spider version. So I'm thinking of a band that's sometimes overlooked. I'm talking about Eric Burdon and the Animals. They launched onto the scene in 1962, but everybody knows their big hit is The House of the Rising Sun. They didn't invent this song. They didn't write it. They just took it and made it amazing. Much like Aston Martin didn't invent the V8. They just took it and made it sound amazing. This is a car that's actually been around for a while. It launched in 2005 as a 2006 model year car, and it's essentially been the same. One of the big differences, though, lies under the hood. What started as a 380 horsepower 4.3 liter V8 engine has morphed into the 4.7 liter you see here. Hand-built by this one, Chris Devaney. Thanks, Chris. Great engine. It now makes 420 horsepower, and you can compare it with a 6-speed manual gearbox or the all-new Sportmatic 2 7-speed paddle-shiftable automated manual. Let's give that a try. Before we jump in and drive, you have to take a minute to take in an Aston Martin. These are gorgeous cars. They always have been, they always will be. Even the boxy Lagonda has a special place in the heart of this Hoon. The shape is just like nothing else. I mean, the closest thing that compares to it externally is a Jaguar XKR, and this thing takes that buttoned up look of the Jag and sexes it up times a million. You got the big wheels filling the fenders, the cool looking long hood with these swept-back headlamps, and it swings all the way back to the tip of this duckbill spoiler right here, and these great-looking wraparound taillights, and the Aston badges on both ends. This is a stunner on the street. You pay extra for a convertible, and there's a reason for that. You get to do this. It may take a minute, but it's worth it. And now you have an open-air Aston Martin. So what's the key, pun very much intended, to starting this Aston Martin? It's this little baby here. It costs more than my Civic, I'm assuming, even though my Civic was free, but still the comparison needs to be made. You take this, you put it in the slot, and now the Aston's alive. So what do you get for $148,000? You get great hand-built stitched leather, you get a hand-built engine, again, thanks Chris. You get a beautiful soundtrack, thanks to that 4.7 liter V8, but most of all, you get a car that it's not as quite as good as performer as a Porsche 911. It's not as German and efficient as an Audi R8, but it is damn good looking. This is one of the best looking cars on the road. And if you spend the money for this, it's going to be one of the few cars on the road because there's not a lot of Astons out there. It's cachet, it's style, it's substance, and that says a lot these days, and the Aston has it in spades. And that's why I'm going to go drive it some more. So as you can see, it's a buttoned up, stylish grand tour of a machine. That doesn't mean it likes to get dirty and have some fun. As you can tell, it's a tuxedo, but it's almost a tuxedo t-shirt. Not everybody's going to do that in their Aston Martin, but it's nice to know you can. So just like it's a treat to look at the Aston from the outside, it's a treat to sit right here too. These paddles are right at your hand and they stay in the same position all the time, no matter, because they're mounted to the column, so you turn the wheel, you know where the paddle's going to be. On top of that, with this Sportmatic 2 transmission, it's a unique experience. It's not just a simple automatic with the paddle override. This has a clutch, and you have to let off slightly before each upshift if you want to have a smooth shift. On downshifts, however, just hit the paddle, you get a great blip, and you hammer it, and you have a blast. It's not all peaches and cream here inside the Aston Martin, though. Just like Astons of old, the infotainment system sucks. It's weird to use, but once you figure it out, you understand it a little bit. Buttons that do one thing do another thing when other buttons are pressed, but you might not know that button's pressed. The nav unit, why not go with the bespoke system rather than just plunking in what looks like a Garmin? The sound system sounds great, but it's a little weird. I have a USB drive plugged in, and it only plays some of my songs, not all of my songs, even though they play fine in other cars. Aston really needs to step up their game when it comes to the nav and the audio control system here. Also, this car doesn't have heated or cooled seats. This is $150,000. $20,000 Hyundais are coming standard with heated seats these days. Aston really needs to step up their game in that department too. But once you get past that and you just go back to the enjoyment, the love of driving the car, the sound of the engine, the way the transmission shifts, it's a unique experience, it's uniquely Aston, and it's uniquely brilliant.